Welcome to Wellness for Entrepreneurs, where we have meaningful conversations with founders. This podcast is about exploring, educating, and empowering entrepreneurs on maintaining wellness in their entrepreneurial journey. My name is Matebe Jobo, and I am an entrepreneurship investor, scholar, and evangelist. I am your host. Hi everyone, I am so excited to be speaking to you again this year. It is January 2021, and if you're like me, your brain still needed a little bit of convincing to realize that we are at the dawn of a new year, 2021. Who can blame it when we didn't celebrate the end of the year holidays in a manner that we are used to? I read an interesting article by Kiara Carter on how celebrating the holidays can improve your mental and physical health by releasing chemicals such as oxytocin to the brain. Unfortunately, many of us had to celebrate the past year differently. I spent the holidays mostly at home with my husband and daughter. We normally would celebrate with our extended family members, but these holidays were different. In South Africa, for example, we went into a heightened lockdown towards the end of the year, and the entire country met the new year with their immediate family members or alone. So how then do you convince yourself that it is indeed a new year? I decided to upload this episode, which is really a prelude to the next coming season. And I wanted us to talk about igniting your entrepreneurial drive in the new year. I was telling my husband that I had to literally convince my brain that it is a new year. Simple things like starting to work out or detoxing helped transport me into this new year. For inspiration, I searched for an entrepreneur that would have started a business and grew it successfully in almost the same circumstances that we are in right now. And so I found a 23-year-old young man who was relatively uneducated due to a change in his family fortunes. He had little working experience and who left his employment just after or just at the start of the Spanish flu of 1918 and started a business. On the 6th of January 2021, this business had a market cap of 30 billion US dollars. Now, that is what I call inspiration. So who is this young boy that I'm talking about? Well, there are few people who write and talk about Konosuke Matsushita, the founder of Panasonic as we know it today. Wait, before I continue with the story, I hope you realize that the sound sounds a lot better and that the setting is different. So I did manage to get new equipment for the new year, 2021. Anyway, so let's continue talking about Konosuke Matsushita. Born in Wakayama, Japan, to a father who lost his family fortune, at age 9, Matsushita found himself with no education and having to take an apprenticeship at a bicycle shop. Just a short while before that, Matsushita had suffered the loss of two of his older brothers, one sister, and his father had gone blind. 2 years later, he lost his father. What was interesting about Matsushita is that he got promoted very quickly and was the youngest person to be promoted in both the companies that he worked for. In the last company that he worked for, which was Osaka Electric Light Company, he was promoted to inspector and was the youngest person to have been promoted. Time went by and Matsushita had invented an efficient light socket, and he showed it to the company, but unfortunately his idea was rejected. That is when he decided to leave. This was just close to the end of World War I and just as the Spanish flu was starting in 1918. Matsushita left his employment to start his two-socket light fixture manufacturing company in his two-bedroomed apartment, or tenement as they called it. Together with his wife and a few assistants, they prototyped this invention. However, months went by and there were no orders, and Matsushita was close to bankruptcy when he eventually received his first large order. Today, what started as Matsushita Electric Housewares Manufacturing Works in a 2-bedroom flat is now known as Panasonic and listed on the stock exchange. Igniting your entrepreneurial drive is about saying yes. It's really about saying yes when there's every reason for you to say no. This comes from deep within. Some call it drive. In entrepreneurship, we call it drive too. Entrepreneurial drive, so that it categorically belongs to us. But seriously, igniting your entrepreneurial drive is about coming face to face with your ambition and what you deem significant. As entrepreneurs, we are driven by a strong need to achieve great things. Igniting our entrepreneurial drive means that we are thinking about significance, importance, and creating meaningful change through our businesses. We will not stop until what we see in our minds comes to fruition. We are goal-oriented individuals. We look at the world with a positive spirit. Where others see demise and destruction, we see creativity. Where others see risk, we see opportunity. As the year begins, I want to ask you, how will you measure your days? This is a book title from one of my favorite scholars. This is Professor Clayton Christensen. How will you measure your days? Will you measure them in COVID cases, or will you measure them in business cases, bringing the opportunities you see in your mind to fruition? Every time I read about Konosuke Matsushita, I ask myself whether he knew that during all that chaos, he was busy creating a 100-plus-year-old company with billions of dollars in valuation. Did he know that when his assistants left in the very beginning, he was creating employment for hundreds and thousands of people today? He may not have known, and he may not have seen the full picture then. However, the need to achieve and the belief in the opportunity he saw are what kept him going. And ultimately, it is love. It is love that holds it all together. It's not just me who's saying this. Researchers such as Shane have found the same thing. A love for what you do and its significance is what keeps your entrepreneurial drive going. Matsushita extended this love to his society and the alleviation of poverty. This is why contribution to society is one of Panasonic's very important values. In this new year, I am excited, and I would like to invite you to join me on this journey as we ignite our entrepreneurial drive and as we launch the next season of Wellness for Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship starts in the mind, in your values, and in who you are as a human being. May you draw inspiration from deep within yourself to effect the change you want to see in the world. Thank you for joining me in this episode. May you have a prosperous and wonderful year ahead of you. I look forward to sharing so many more moments with you. Thank you for listening to the Wellness for Entrepreneurs podcast, a space for meaningful conversations with founders. Please click on the link below to subscribe and follow us on our social media channels. Goodbye.